Greetings, everybody. This is Courtney Starhart with Finding the Force, as well as Plant Medicine University. We are doing a series of videos because there are so many people looking for healing, looking for plant medicine, and I really want to support your journey. Um, we offer retreats, yes, and I'm a trained medicine person, yes, but I'm not trying to sell you anything. I really, truly want you to be able to find the best retreat. Everybody is different and everybody has different needs. So, the 5 things that you need to look for when you're looking for a plant medicine retreat, especially as a modern professional woman, a busy corporate executive, somebody who really needs to get the job done and not waste a lot of time and energy fumbling around in the darkness trying to figure things out. And after all, Native American culture has largely been erased from our modern memory. So it's understandable that people have a difficult time figuring out how to find a good retreat. So I'm going to help you in a series of videos to figure out what is the best for you because everybody is different. So to begin with, I'm going to address this burning question of what is a medicine person. We have a lot of people running around nowadays calling themselves medicine people. We have 20-year-olds and people from all over the world who are declaring themselves medicine people, which is cute in a way, except for the issue of the appropriation of that terminology. That is a purely Native American term for a person who is trained by a tribal medicine person. Okay. So there's a lineage, there is an initiation, there is a training, and even once you've graduated from that training process, there's a residency. So, for example, when I trained in the Southwest, I spent about 5 years proving that I knew the things that I knew. I had already studied herbalism. I had already studied homeopathy. I had already studied, oh my gosh, history, politics, sustainability, permaculture, lots of different things before I was actually given permission to go ahead and start working with plant medicine. Even when I did, it wasn't the entire goal. I didn't go to the Southwest because I wanted to learn how to pour ayahuasca. Like many people who become medicine people, the typical story is someone is dying, someone is suffering, someone's got a problem that they can't fix, and they go looking for a medicine person. In the olden days, the medicine person was like the tribal insurance policy. We would be taken care of by the tribe, and we wouldn't ask for money for a ceremony because we were already being taken care of, and everything as a resource in that tribal setting was shared. We didn't have landlords, we didn't have car payments, and we didn't have the IRS. So we were taken care of by the tribe to resolve any concerns about whether or not people should charge for ceremony. They're not charging for ceremony, they're charging for their time and expertise. So, to be clear about that, yes, people charge. And by the way, the less someone is charging, probably the more sus that kind of activity is going to be. If you're looking for a $250 ayahuasca experience, I guarantee that you're going to be crammed in a room with 20, 30, 50 other people. So you want to ask people about the type of space that you're getting involved with. A truly well trained professional person is going to command a higher amount because they're well trained, because they're well educated, because they may have spent 20 to 30 years, like myself, studying and dedicating their lives to this. So, the pricing on ayahuasca is going to vary from about $200 to $2,000. And it depends usually what you're getting with it. Are you getting lodging? Are you getting training? Are you getting food? Are you getting, you see, there's a whole list of things that you might have included. At any rate, that's getting a little bit off topic. As a professional person who's looking to do ayahuasca, you would want to look for 5 things. You want to look for lineage. That was the first thing I was addressing in terms of talking what a medicine person is. A medicine person is someone who's been trained in these traditions: herbalism, holistic health, Oftentimes in my lineage, for example, sweat lodge was part of it. That's a purification ceremony. We have other methods of purification, such as certain walks and rituals. Sage is a cleansing. However, combo is what we're working with right now in our New York setting. So the combo, when we apply that, it goes into your bloodstream and it pulls a lot of things out of your system to get out a lot of the lower grade issues. A lot of the preverbal trauma that's lodged in the amygdala and in the tissues is going to be washed out by the combo. So we work with that first as our purification. In the Southwest, when I was in Albuquerque, we built a sweat lodge with our community. And so we had a sweat lodge available at all times. And that was our preferred activity. Before the combo, we would do our sweat lodge. So the process of getting authorized to pour sweat lodge was a 5-year procedure. So I had to first demonstrate that I knew how to keep fire. Yeah, I had to show that I could chop wood and carry water. You think I'm joking, but a sweat lodge needs a bucket of water and it also needs wood to be chopped. So I spent a lot of time doing those basic things, a little bit like Karate Kid, right? Wax on, wax off. But in most traditions, including Kung Fu and a lot of other global traditions, the initiate is expected to work for a long time, proving their worth, proving their value, proving their sincerity. This is not the type of certification that you get overnight at a weekend retreat in Costa Rica. So it just slays me that people are coming back from these places and working with plant medicine as if they were authorized. So I'm really, really, truly concerned for your welfare. If you're looking for an ayahuasca retreat and you have no idea, you're a newbie to this, again, ask the person about their lineage. And I've described pretty deeply what that means. That would include 5 to 10 years at the very least of training with a lineage master. Third, that person would have to be an herbalist. Anyone who is working with plant medicine should be a trained herbalist. So if you're going to look for a retreat and you ask about the facilitator and they're calling themselves a medicine person or a facilitator, ask them if they're an herbalist and what plant medicines they work with and how much time they spent studying it. The fourth thing that should be really important to you is symbolic literacy. This person should be part of an oral tradition with a legacy of oral tradition, okay? There should be an origin story about their ayahuasca lineage. What does that mean? That means, for example, in my lineage, I worked with Patricio Dominguez, and that's who trained me in ayahuasca and plant medicine. It was only after I had spent 7 years with him and 20 years before that studying that he allowed me to work with the plant medicine. And he sat next to me in many cases and helped me and didn't supervise, but he watched out for me and he watched out for the community to make sure that even by accident, no harm would come to people. So 5. Oh, that was 4, okay? Lineage medicine carrier means you have an oral tradition. So your story is going to include who your teacher was, who your teacher's teacher was, and what traditions you come from. For example, Patricio learned about ayahuasca after he was a full-blown medicine man. He went to South America and he sat with and worked with a Taita named Taita Paulinho. Of course, that sounds like a Brazilian name. So perhaps this Taita was someone who came from Brazil and ended up in Colombia. He had a wide variety of capacities that he worked in and was well loved. They brought him back and forth to the United States for years, and he meshed with our community in New Mexico before I arrived, unfortunately. 5th, that person should have a knowledge of the spirit world. Okay. So if you were going on a trip with someone, let's say we were going to jump in the car over here. All right. And we're going to drive through the desert. Would you want to know that I have a map of that area? Would you want to know that I have a means of navigation? Your well being when you're going into the spirit world is much more important and say fragile than that of a road trip. What's the worst thing that can happen if we go on a road trip and we get lost? Maybe run out of gas, get eaten by coyotes? Probably not, right? But if you go into the spirit world and you're cracked open on this plant medicine and you're susceptible and you're vulnerable to the energies of the other people, to the energies of the practitioner, said practitioner, with said qualifications, may or may not be a safe fit for you. So, especially as a professional woman, as a person who has a lot on their plate already, you want to make sure that you don't get injured in the process of trying to heal. You want to make sure that you don't get broken in the process of trying to elevate to higher consciousness. So for anyone who's serious about, improving, say, their mental focus, improving their career, improving the way they show up at work and with their family, if you're looking for an ayahuasca retreat, you want to make sure that those 5 things are in place. Other questions you're going to ask. You're going to ask about things like the screening process. How do they screen people? How many assistants do they have? And are those people properly trained? How long have those assistants and staff been with their organization? You also want to ask about their training materials and the preparation that they provide for you. It's not just a given that everybody trains people. In fact, most people don't train anyone at all. They just kind of push them off a cliff and say, good luck, friends. And there's no way for people to know the things that they need to know about plant medicine and about especially ayahuasca. So, you may be looking to reduce your stress by getting rid of old trauma, and that's a great thing. If you're a veteran who's looking for these services, also, you deserve the very best quality of services. It's not that much more expensive to get yourself a decent situation where you have your own bed, where you're not laying on a mat in a room next to 50 other people. There are dog crates that are larger than the spaces that I'm seeing people sitting in for ayahuasca, and they're sitting there for days on end. It's going to be a really uncomfortable situation for you, and it's going to take away from your ability to actually go into the ayahuasca journey. If someone sitting right next to you is violently vomiting and they're having a difficult time, that energy is getting on you. You may end up picking up more bad stuff than you had to begin with if you don't go to the right place. And again, I'm not trying to scare you, but I am talking to my ideal client. I work with professionals. I work with people who have already done a lot of other spiritual practices and who are fairly well developed so that we can have a higher level of success. And people who've already tried a lot of other different things and are looking to really level up are going to be more committed, are going to be more competent, and they're going to come with more seriousness. Another thing that you're going to encounter when you find these younger practitioners who are medicine people, um, then you're going to find that they don't have the years of practice or the seriousness. No one would call themselves a medicine person or even a medicine carrier if they were serious and they didn't have the training. In fact, most medicine people have actually been conditioned to not call themselves medicine people out of respect for the weight of what that title means. Not to mention that most of us have been traumatized by the conquest and learned to kind of keep it on the down low. So my tradition, again, comes from the Southwest and from a master there. Many, many years of training. And if you want to find a good retreat, make sure you ask about the tools they offer, the services, the support, the space, what you're getting for the amount of money you're paying, and also integration. If your guide doesn't have a lineage, they might not actually understand how to help you interpret your journey. What could be more disappointing than going on this epic journey and coming back with all of this information, and then you go to your guide and you go, "Well, Bob, I saw this red dress on this woman, and she kept on trying to talk to me about this golden compass in her hand, and she was inviting me, and you tell them the whole sequence of these things that you saw that were so impactful, and they go, "Oh, well, that's great," but they don't know how to interpret it. So it's really important that you find yourself a guide who knows how to help you with integration. And they're not going to be able to do that unless they understand about symbolic literacy. Symbolic literacy is shamanism 101. But when I'm going to these retreats and working with other people to support other people, they don't know anything about symbolic literacy. So I was literally sitting in a room where people had sat next to each other, stuffed into a little room on little yoga mats, all throwing up in buckets all on top of each other. And these poor people were so brave and so courageous, and they were so determined to get what they needed. And then what happened? They brought back these visions, and no one there knew how to interpret it. And I was told to sit down and be quiet because I wasn't supposed to help interpret their experience. That is literally what your medicine person is there for, is to help you to integrate your experience by providing a circle where people share their experiences. We find that people have common experiences. Say, for example, in one room, you might have, in my case, at my retreats, only 5 to 7 people, but you have these people and they have common experiences in the spirit world. They bring back similar things. And we need also as a group to look at what that meaning has for all of us. Okay. Because as I said in the beginning, we're making an energetic ship. We're getting on this energetic ship together to go to the spirit world, and we're all together. So there's a collective meaning to our journey, there's a personal meaning to our journey, and then there's a larger, broader meaning beyond even our group. All right. So I hope that this has been helpful. We're going to be broadcasting regularly every week, and I look forward to meeting you if and when you wonderful people decide to come to retreat or to train with me.